a second. There are other versions of trichotillomania. That's what it said. Trichotillomania is a version of an eating disorder, which is the desire, it's going to sound weird, desire to eat parts of one's body due to anxiety.
Oh, like your fingernails?
Bingo! If you bite your nails and chew and swallow them, or you chew on scabs or chew on cuticles or whatever.
Oh my God,
Who was that guy in Austin Powers that ate his skin?
The scab.
Right, and there's like you pick a scab off and eat it.
No, he like ate like big pieces of his skin.
That's gross. So that's another type of an anxious issue. And so what the issue that we had to get to is the treatment. Trichotillomania treatment is easy. Replace deficiency. So for to eat clay is usually like the desire to eat one's own body part is same as bulimia. The treatment is the same as bulimia. Then we have the food-related issues, which are just binge eating disorder. And again, the treatment is the same as bulimia. Sort of. So moving on, those are the general issues. What we face is the issue of the relationship between anxiety and food. And that's just going to differentiate the disorders. So in case number one, we have anxiety or stress type of anxiety, leads to overeating, which is the end. That's it. You just overeat. Okay? You're stressed out, you eat a pint of Haagen-Dazs, you eat a little extra because you're stressed out, feels good. Your neurotransmitters are bing, 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 bing. It feels great and fantastic. And that's what we have, which is a binge eating disorder. That's the easiest. So what we have to do is address the anxiety. If you address the anxiety, the overeating goes down, the disorder is fixed. So that makes sense. Now we're going to get more complicated. So case number two is where anxiety leads to overeating. PSA, public service announcement. This is a significant oversimplification. Right? Significant oversimplification of these things. Anxiety leads to overeating, which leads to self-loathing. We'll leave that self-loathing for you. AKA you don't like yourself. Which leads to compensation or things to minimize weight gain. And then you end. So anxiety, you overeat, then you hate that you overate, then you do something to adjust so you don't gain weight, and you end. So this is colloquially called, we have the binge, and one type of compensation is purge. So binge and purge equals what?
Bulimia.
Bulimia. Your exam is not going to have much on bulimia if even a question on bulimia. You're fine with it, but I don't think you're going to say that. Bulimia is a disorder characterized by overeating, typically due to anxiety, and then some compensatory behavior. You do something to avoid weight gain. So this would be, for example, there's a large ingestion of food. Feel terrible about it. So you would do in yourself. And so the characteristic of someone with bulimia is of average to above average weight. It is very uncommon, not unheard of, but quite uncommon to have a person with bulimia who is underweight. The reason being, overeating exists. Unless you vomit everything out almost instantaneously, your body starts absorbing things very quickly. So you have that nutritional intake. But the behavior that's considered abnormal, the overeating, is due to anxiety. So the treatment is very similar. So let's address why we're overeating in the first place. The compensation, like purging, occurs because of a fear of weight gain. And the important notion for testing purposes is the compensatory behaviors are rational. Like, for example, a slightly normalized bulimic behavior is someone eating, a big meal and say, "Oh, I need to go to the gym after this." That's bulimic behavior right there. That's overeating, and then compensating for the overeating. Kind of normalize that. So in anorexia, we see anxiety leading to binging, this rational self-loathing and desire to lose, ultimately is some compensatory behavior. So compensatory behavior takes on things like excessive exercise. It takes on things like purging, like vomiting. It could be the use of diuretics. It could be the use of laxatives or stool softeners. It could be any of those. But the goal is, one, you overeat, and then two, you try to avoid gaining weight. There's a rationalization. An important point, this is actually on your exam, it'll be in there, just so I want to make you aware of it. There is, fancy term alert, something pathognomonic. You don't need to know that. The term pathognomonic means it's diagnostic. It only exists in one thing. Like a bullseye rash exists in what? Lyme disease, that's it. There's no other disease that has a bullseye rash. A bullseye rash equals Lyme disease. There's something called, you don't need to necessarily know it by name, called Russell's sign. And Russell's sign is the scarring of usually 1 to 2 fingers and the knuckles on the back side. So if you think of like here, you have scarring all along here, caused by your top teeth.
Professor,
Yes.
you said pathognomonic.
Yes.
Can you spell it and
No
define
way. We'll try. Patho.
GN.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
GNM? I don't know.
GNOMON.
I was going to get that horribly wrong. That looks right. So
Is there a
pathognomonic
name?
means
No,
it's a sign that's diagnostic of something.
no.
So in this case, Russell's sign, which is scarring of
Oh,
one's
so it's pathognomonic.
posterior nose, caused by the upper teeth when inducing vomiting. Okay. Those are all the basics. Am I okay with this? I'm gonna add one more thing. I'm gonna erase this off. We have one other disorder. You already probably know what it is. It's where anxiety, with 5 asterisks, leads to restrictive behavior or restrictive eating. And this is anorexia. Anorexia is significant restrictive behavior caused by some anxiety. We're going to talk a lot more. Your exam will almost solely exist, I think it solely exists, I'll check on anxiety. No, anorexia. Anorexia is a big deal. The NCLEX and ATI also love anorexia. Because anorexia has a ton of medical problems that come along with it. Ton of them. And, so, am I good to take away all this stuff? Speak now, verbal traits.
Associated.
Okay. So we have the technical term is anorexia
Nervosa.
nervosa. Anorexia, by definition, is decreased appetite. So clinical anorexia is low appetite. Like if you feel your stomach is bothering you, you don't want to eat. That's clinical anorexia. And nervosa is anxiety produced. Right. So anxiety produced is typically one, a morbid fear of waking. A preoccupation with waking. And constant self-view. So individuals see themselves as morbidly obese and fear any weight gain and are preoccupied with anything that will cause weight gain as part of their illness. So, to be diagnosed with anorexia, there is only one characteristic. There used to be more, but there's only one characteristic these days. I'm going to tell you the other ones later. The major characteristic, the requirement, this is where it's going to blow people's minds, is you must be less than 85% of the lower ideal body weight. So you have to be pretty slender. So I'm going to tell you, and now what you need to know stops. So we're going to pause the brain for a second. I'm going to do to prove a point. Please give me a gender and a height. Now,
Now 6 foot.
Male 6 foot.
Yes.
Female 5'9".
Okay, hold on. I was hoping you were going to say male.
5'9".
Okay. I feel like I'm going to get the male calculation wrong. But we're going to try. Female, I know, so we typically do female. So we have to convert this to inches. And then subtract 60. So 6 foot is how many inches?
72.
Minus 60 is 12. The 5'9" is, at least we're gonna do 5'7".
6, 7.
So for females, the lower limit of ideal is 100 plus 5 times number of inches over 60. So we have, in the case of 5'9", 100 plus 5 times 9, which is 145. Okay? So the limit of an ideal body weight, not the ideal body weight, the lower limit of an ideal body weight for a female is 5'9", is 145. Now, we need to do less than 85%. So 85% of 145 is, anybody want to help me with that math? 123 1/4? That sounds about right. So for someone who's 5'9", to meet criteria for anorexia nervosa, it has to be less than 123 I mean, if you do the math like 5'2", it's under 100 pounds. And you can do your own math based on your own height if you so choose. For men, I'm pretty sure it's 110 plus 6 times the number of inches. So this will be 110 plus 6 times 12, which would be 182. And we would then multiply that by, so 85% of 182. If anybody wants to give me that quick number, that should be right around like 150-ish? 160-ish? Anybody? 1424?
154.7.
Sounds right. 154, oops, point something.
0.7.
That's for someone who's 6 feet. 6 foot gentleman, 4 pounds. So this is not meant for you to calculate or feel terrible about yourselves. The reason for this is to say, we're talking slender. That's the notion. So number one, we have a low body weight. Where are we at? We got time. So we established number one. So then we're going to talk key medical issues. These are the guys to know. Number one is paradoxical bradycardia. And hypotension. So typically, I'm going to ask Brittany if you guys, what's your exam like? Cardiac?
Respiratory.
Oh,
Repeat cardiac.
okay, shit, it's okay. So when typically when blood pressure goes down, what happens to the heart rate? It goes up. So the paradoxical part here is that blood pressure goes down, and the heart rate also goes down. So we have paradoxical bradycardia in the setting of hypotension. Like bradycardia, like down to the 40s. Why? Because there's no energy. Heart ain't got nothing, there's no juice going on. Number two, all lab values plummet. I should say this is chemistry. So everything goes down. Calcium, down. Sodium, down. Potassium, down. Magnesium, down. Everything's left. There's no food. As you can remember from cardiac, low electrolytes can cause all sorts of cardiac arrhythmias. This is why people die from anorexia. They get thrown into something equally die. Good.
Don't they die from refeeding too, though?
Oh, we're gonna get to refeeding syndrome. Absolutely. In women, we see amenorrhea. The absence of menstruation in someone who's already menstruated. This used to be required for a diagnosis to be made. It no longer is a requirement of a diagnosis to be made. We also see bone density issues. So issues of bone density. You can see pathological fractures happening because of poor density. We have this malnutrition occurs. We see brittle hair and nails accompanied by something called lanugo. Let me catch up and I'll explain what lanugo is. When babies are born, they're covered in fine, very light hair. That helps keep them warm. Because individuals with anorexia don't have anything burning off because they're not eating anything, the body uses some of its energy to grow excessive hair to help keep it warm. So the overabundance of these very fine, light-colored hairs like lanugo is quite common. Question. So the cardiac issues are really at play here, centrally. The other major thing, before we talk about interventions, is something called refeeding syndrome. Feeding syndrome is where a person with anorexia who has consistent poor intake. Now, when we talk about poor intake, we're talking like 400, 500 calories a day. That's your average pumpkin spice latte. That's it. The body has low chemistry values in pretty much every low value except cholesterol. Cholesterol goes up for some reason. We don't really know why cholesterol goes up. But the body says, we need to hold on to all this stuff. We don't really know what's going on. So we're going to store it all in the cell. So all your blood chemistries go down. Storing it all for a rainy day. The body, however, is not very smart. We need to talk about that. The body is not very smart. When there is a rapid caloric intake, the body says, back to normal. And you have a rapid release of electrolytes from the cell into the bloodstream, which causes all sorts of cardiac arrhythmias, and you die. And this wasn't really well known until really the Holocaust and World War II, where you would have prisoners of war or concentration camp victims who would be barely eating anything and essentially had an anorexia level intake of food, very minimal. And then they get out, what's the first thing they want to do? Eat a big old whatever it is. And they did, and they died. And that's when we discovered refeeding syndrome. So individuals who have anorexia are generally and almost categorically underweight. Again, we said less than 85%. Have very poor body image, or their self-view of themselves is very poor. To wear very baggy clothing to hide their weight. Both one for feedback of how gaunt they may look, but also because they think they're obese, even though they're 85% of IQ. And are characterized mostly as middle to upper class Caucasian women, particularly well-educated Caucasian women, particularly Caucasian women who are of perfections and like control over things. We do, and there are some very public cases of male or anorexia in males, not nearly as common. The incidence is something like 98% female and 2% male, but it does exist. And there are many case reports of celebrities or male who have eating disorders because of the view of their own body. That's anorexia in a nutshell. The last component of anorexia, so we have this case where we have this morbid fear of weight gain, the view that they are obese, and this preoccupation with weight gain. We have a host of medical issues. What do we then do about it? And there are some key nursing interventions or general interventions that you should be aware of. Number one, I'm just going to circle off the top of my head. I may miss some, but we'll get them all at some point. Number one is that we do not want to compliment success. And that sounds strange. But that's because, and there's a video I posted in Canvas if you ever are interested. It's a lighthearted, not lighthearted, it's easy to listen. And it makes a very important point. Beating anorexia is hard as hell. And the people think, oh, start eating again and you'll feel better. Nope. People are going to feel a hell of a lot worse because they have this morbid fear of weight gain. And what are we forcing them to do? Gain weight. And so that's part of the psychotic nature of anorexia, is that no matter what, you have this view. We have to persevere through it. So number one is we don't compliment them, because people aren't going to be happy they're gaining weight. They may realize they have to, but they're not going to be happy about it. It's like complimenting a cancer patient on weight loss. You look great. Yeah, cancer.
Might have done that before.
Number two is very strict diet control. Liquid supplementation is key, like Ensure or those type of things. Liquid nutrients are absorbed much faster than solid nutrients. It's very hard to vomit up Ensure. When you do, it's already starting to be absorbed. So we don't want to shy away from liquid supplementation, so we want to encourage liquid supplementation. In really significant cases, we give limits to meal times. It's not like they can eat for however long they want. So you have a half an hour to finish this meal. And folks should remain during mealtime. I would tell you, there was a boy who I took care of with anorexia years ago. And man, this guy could vomit like that. Like he would eat a bag of chips and go like this. And just completely vomit to a bag like that. He was able to vomit on demand. So strict supervision, including in some cases up to 2 hours after mealtime. Because again, if you eat something, you're going to want to vomit. And so the other part of that in sort of food choice is that it may seem counterintuitive. We give significant and so the reason we give food choice is an existential issue that we all face. And I shouldn't presume that no one has a challenge with eating, but I'm going to for a second. We generally, as people, enjoy foods first. We like to have different things. You don't like to have the same thing every day. Don't like leftovers. It's like we like the variety of food, and we like some. But individuals within may find benefit in eating the same thing every single day. Is it the most nutritious? Maybe not. But guess what? It keeps them alive. And we may offer some like vitamins and stuff like that, but if they can eat a peanut butter and jelly 3 times a day, that's going to keep them alive. They're going to have peanut butter and jelly 3 times a day. And you may be like, that sounds miserable. Well, you don't have an eating disorder. Get over it. We want to minimize privacy with eating disorders, because you never know what they're going to be up to. Yeah, we want to make sure whatever they eat, they take in and keep down, but also they don't, just like we wouldn't have someone who's abusing drugs alone with visitors, because they can, with heroin. Someone with an eating disorder can be slipped all sorts of things. And then we want to set realistic goals. 5 pounds a week, 1 to 2 pounds a week weight gain is perfectly appropriate to get them going slowly. And usually the goal is weight gain of 1 to 2 pounds a week. And the males, you can go 2 to 3, but typically it's not a lot. It's just gonna be torture to get even 1 to 2 pounds. And it's very important that you understand how we weigh somebody. There is a tried and true approach to weighing people. It is 1, wearing the same thing every day. So if it's a hospital gown, it's a hospital gown. Same thing every day. We ain't gonna have people putting like weights in their pockets to weigh down. So number 1 is the same thing every day. Number 2, it's just every morning after the first void. Wake up, go pee, scale. Okay? So it's right when you wake up, after the first void. You have to pee out, otherwise you're gonna skew things. There's plenty of individuals I know with anorexia who they have whey in it, and they would just drink a ton of water beforehand and hold their bladder so they can make that leak. And the more controversial components, and both are acceptable, is blind weights versus unblinded weights. It's a bit of controversy, but usually it's left to the individual if they want to do a blind weight or non-blind weight. So for example, if this was the scale and I'm stepping on the scale, a blind weight would be I step on like this so I can't see the number, versus an unblind is I can see the number. And that to me, it used to be that you'd always do unblinded. And the evidence now shows that there's no value. It actually creates more anxiety in the individual because you don't know the number. You're like gaining, losing, oh my God, I'm going to die so fast. The hardest part about managing anorexia is this. We all know generally what it's like to be anxious. We know what it's like to be depressed. We know what that feels like. This is a very difficult thing to be empathetic on because most people value food and like the variety of food and have that relationship. And I get more oversimplifying anorexia nervosa, but an example of how the body, mind process food in someone with anorexia is this. Now imagine you have a pizza party, and we bring in a bunch of different pizzas, and you can find your favorite veggie, meat lovers, whatever it is. It's there, it's beautiful, it's delicious, fantastic experience. It's an ideal food situation. Now imagine you were in an inpatient psychiatric unit and you get a plate and say, you have to eat this. is your meal. And in front of you are 2 slices of pizza. And those slices of pizza have onions, sausage, anchovies, strawberries, chocolate sauce,
Oh, whoa.
some cottage cheese,
Oh, no.
and a little bit of mustard.
This is anything.
Right.
Now imagine taking that slice of pizza with sausage, onion, mustard, anchovies,
Strawberries.
strawberries, chocolate sauce,
Cottage cheese.
dumping some cottage cheese, and some pickles on top,
Oh, no.
and putting it up to your mouth. What are you gonna want to do? Now imagine for a patient with anorexia nervosa, that slice of pizza is your favorite. So all the food that folks eat with anorexia nervosa, they have that nauseating experience. All right, we'll see you guys in a bit. We're over.
Just a minute.
We almost
It's not bad. Over more. Okay. See you guys in 11.